What's up, YouTube? Wanted to make a video just talking about reality, remote viewing, consciousness, um, what the intellectuals call parapsychology, um, what some people would call supernatural, these kind of concepts. So, um, for I've been studying remote viewing and consciousness for a while, and a lot of the conversation revolves around military stuff. You know what I mean? Spying on this and this and that, and remote viewing the moon and these kinds of things. And that all may be interesting and stuff like that, but for the most part, people are missing the real implications of remote viewing. What this whole concept means. Remote viewing in the scientific arena, it's really nothing new. The Yoga Sutras, Panjatali, and many in the past have already talked about being able to see into the distance, being able to know things that are external from you. So this is not anything new, really. It's more of a rediscovery, a refinement, and kind of really, it's kind of like a materialist kind of like conception of it. You know what I mean? A secular interpretation of it, the scientific community's way of looking at it. Um, but in my opinion, people are missing the mark when it comes to this whole phenomenon. You know, if you are been involved in this and you've experienced this um, as many times as I have, uh, it changes the way you understand reality because experience is, people can talk about things, you can believe in things. Um, I'm done believing things. You know what I mean? I gave up believing in things, and I'm into knowing and experiencing things. So, I know at this point that information is accessible. You know what I mean? Through my own consciousness. I don't have to believe that it's real. Um, People often are looking for proof for remote viewing. They want someone to prove it to them. They want someone to work a target for them, and then they'll say, "Oh wow, this must be real. Like this guy hit the target I gave him." But honestly, you're missing the mark. Okay, this is about reality and understanding what is capable of consciousness and your awareness, and expanding that understanding of yourself. You know, um, if you're getting caught up on what's on the moon or what's in the galaxy and all this kind of stuff, you're missing the point. The thing that you need to understand is right in front of you when you look in the mirror. This is about knowing yourself. Um, a lot of the New Age philosophy, people who are talking about New Age stuff, um, talk about raising their frequency and vibrating at a higher frequency and all this kind of things, and law of attraction and stuff like that. Um, Synchronicity. Uh, a lot of it is talk. A lot of it is fluff, and there's no substance behind a lot of it. It's kind of just like stuff that's nice to hear. Yeah, it's great. It's a great idea that we can all raise our frequency and all these kind of things. But when it comes to reality, the reality of the situation is that yeah, there is something behind these kinds of ideas, but if there's no real application, if there's no way for you to really experience this, then it's just kind of like a religious dogma. You know what I mean? Um, I made a video a couple months back talking about brainwaves frequency and perception. And everything is frequency. It's like people say that all the time. Everything's a frequency. But can you demonstrate that? Can you apply that in your life in any way, or is it just some kind of fluffy ideology? You know what I mean? Through studying your awareness and your perceptual abilities, like I have over the last many years, I can say that yeah, things are a frequency, and you can tune into those frequencies and you can perceive them. You know what I mean? For real, like you can perceive them and get information, and that could help you. You could use it to solve problems, so on and so forth. But really, the important part is that the awareness of yourself, that new expanded awareness of what you are, what your awareness is, and its connection to the greater, view of reality, right? Um, don't get caught in the storyline of these things. You know what I mean? There's lots of books about remote viewing mysteries, and that stuff is interesting. I understand the intrigue and wanting to know about those kind of mysterious things. I get it, but there's nothing more mysterious, and there's nothing more mysterious and deep, and that you should be wanting to know more than yourself. You know what I mean? Your own psyche, your own consciousness, how it functions, ideas of parapsychology, as the intellectuals like to call it, and supernatural is another one of these things that people words they use to describe these kind of topics. There's nothing supernatural. There's nothing parapsychology. Parapsychology means means beyond, and psychology is the study of the human psyche and the mind. So when you call remote viewing or non-local perception parapsychology, you're creating this kind of like barrier. You're saying this is beyond yourself, basically. You know what I mean. Supernatural, that makes it some kind of unusual, something that's not normal, something that's not supposed to happen. You know what I mean? But it's not. It's far from that. People have since recorded history, people have been writing about non-local perceptual experiences. Okay, the Yoga Sutras talk about being able to see things at a distance, knowing something without ever having been near it or coming in contact with it and stuff like this. So these are ancient aspects of the human experience. It's nothing supernatural. It's nothing parapsychology about it. But people like to put their interpretations on these things and categorize them, and belief systems get built up around these concepts. And once you get stuck inside of a belief system, it can be hard to get outside of it, and it creates a box, like a reality box that you have to live within. Anything that doesn't fit in that reality box gets rejected, and ultimately you don't get to experience a lot of those things because it just doesn't fit with the hand that you've been dealt. You know what I mean? You took on certain beliefs, and so when something comes along later, there's a certain amount of cognitive dissonance that people encounter, and they have to reject certain aspects that come forth. If I can perceive someone's emotions that I've never met or seen in my life without being told anything about it, well, I know that this information is accessible, right? So that's going to change the way I act, right? Because now I know now that things are connected in these subtle, non-visible ways. You know what I mean? Separation in the physical arena. That's one way of perceiving the world. That's how we mostly been indoctrinated to perceive the world on the physical level. But there are, higher vibrations or frequencies, but it's not some airy fairy thing in the sky or something like that, right? It is in you, and it's all can be experienced here, in the now, right? So, and my advice is to, get rid of the concepts of supernatural and parapsychology. Those concepts are modern, very modern concepts. Um, it's human nature to have these experiences. People have been having these experiences from the beginning of recorded history and before recorded history. I'm trying to deal with reality here, right? That's what we want to get down to. Um, Truth, reality of myself, right? And you should do that for yourself. You know what I mean? It's not going to be these external things that at the end of the day, those external things aren't going to bring you much. All the external things ever do really is reflect something from inside of you. You know what I mean? You have belief systems, you have ideologies, and when you see the external things, it triggers things within you. That's really you can only ever deal with what's in your own, reality box. That's all you can really ever deal with, your own frames of reference. So by expanding your frames of reference, now you can have a more expanded experience of reality, which could include things that most people usually call supernormal, or supernatural, or parapsychology and stuff like that, right? Don't try and prove things to people. Okay, you can never prove anything to anybody. No amount of information you put in front of someone will ever prove anything to them or change their mind unless they're willing to do that. Yeah. So hopefully that was interesting. Um, keep searching knowledge. Keep seeking to know more about yourself and your own capabilities, your own abilities, um, the truth of yourself. You know what I mean? Keep seeking, keep searching within yourself. Peace, y'all.